Welcome to the High Level Entrepreneur, a podcast with me, Joella Skog. In today's episode, I want to talk about what happens when you are the smartest and most ambitious person in the room and what that feels like and the consequences of that when you are an entrepreneur. Because a couple of weeks ago, when I was in a bunch of meetings for people that were interested in Industry Leader Lounge and speaking with clients every single time we do in-person CEO rooms in Industry Leader Lounge, which we do minimum twice per year, where we all meet in real life, somewhere in Europe, and mastermind together, basically. Whenever we do that, people are always mentioning, as well as in these meetings, that I really don't have any like-minded people around me in my life. I always feel like I'm the only entrepreneur. And if I do have other business owners in my life, it's more like people that aren't that ambitious. They just kind of want to stay where they're at, and they're not really looking to grow and scale a business. And you feel like you're often hanging around other people. You are ambitious, and when people hear what you have achieved and what you want to do and what your goals are, they're looking at you with these big eyes and feeling like, wow, you're so inspiring. You are so cool. You're so brave. I can't believe you're doing that. And while hearing them say this, you're like, well, that's just my normal life. That's just life. That's just me. That's just how I am, how I've always been. And this is normal to me, even if you've been through a transformation yourself over the past couple of years, and maybe a couple of years ago you were nowhere near where you are today, like, you have normalized your current level, right? You've normalized being a six-figure entrepreneur. You've normalized working with premium clients. You've normalized having freedom that others around you don't, right? That's normal for you now. And there's a big part of you that just longs for more, that longs to really build your business, really make it into a real business, scale this business, and see how far you can go, because you deep down know you have that ability. But you consistently find yourself in a room, you go to networking events, you spend time with friends, you join different programs, courses, whatever it is, and you just feel like, I'm always the most ambitious, I'm the most confident one, I'm the most inspiring one, and I'm just not inspired by other people. And maybe you wouldn't really say this out loud because you're humble, right? Like, I'm kind of saying what you deep down feel, which is like, you feel like a very smart, deep person who also have a lot of high ambitions, and you have this expansive mindset, and you know that more could be possible for you than where you are right now. But everyone just thinks that you're at the top. In their mind, you are the most successful person. You are so inspiring. And there's a big part of you that really longs to be around people that you are inspired by, people that are further along than you are, or are on your level, or people that can have deep conversations about identity and the struggles of entrepreneurship, and they get it, they understand, like, you're not crazy. And you just don't really have that. Maybe you've had a taste of that. Maybe you've joined a group program. Maybe you've had a coach and you've had a little bit of a taste of that. But you don't really feel like you're part of something, or you don't really feel like you have a community of people around you on your level. If that's you, you are not alone, like I said, because that's what all of my clients bring up. That's what my leads bring up. And in a way, I was almost surprised to hear that, because I knew there was a truth that entrepreneurship is lonely, and the more ambitious you are, the more successful you become, the more lonelier you become, because in the beginning of your business, you are a new entrepreneur, and there's a lot of new entrepreneurs, and they all want to hang out and learn from each other. But the more experienced you are, the longer you've been in the game, the more people have fallen away and they haven't grown with you, because most people never grow there. Most people never get to where you are. Most people never get to six figures or multi six figures. So of course you're alone. Of course it feels lonely, right? And that's why you're always drawn to, like, could there be a networking event to join? Could there be something here? But you also always find yourself in groups and feeling like, you know what? You're just fantasizing about going home, sitting in front of your computer and working or watching TV because that's just more entertaining than being in these rooms and having these conversations. Fact is, maybe you've joined groups, networks, events where you've even felt like your mindset have been negatively affected because people are so negative, or they are just dealing with basic problems that you dealt with 5 years ago. This is a point in your business that's extremely crucial, and where you should really look at this as a huge, big problem, like an actual business problem that you should take seriously, and not just see it as like, oh, that's unfortunate. I guess I'm just alone. I guess I just have to figure this out. Because the truth is, if we are, if it's proven that we are basically the summary of the people we spend time around, that means if you feel like you're always the smartest person in the room, always the most ambitious, that your ambition doesn't have space to grow. You are contributing to the average height and intelligence in the room, but you are just being pulled down to the average, right? Like, you're not being pulled up to above average. You're being pulled down. And that's where you are really going to suffer from being in these spaces, while others are going to feel expanded and inspired by you. But like, do you really want to live a life where you are just giving to other people, and they are just so inspired by you, and you don't even know the last time you met someone who inspired you, who intellectually challenged you, who brought something new to the table? Like, when was the last time that really happened for you? Maybe I'm not saying that you don't have friends that you love, that you care about deeply, that you want to keep in your life. Yes, I'm not talking about that. You can keep those people in your life, but do you actually have so-called expanders? Like, do you have expanders? People that make you feel bigger, that makes you reach for bigger, that makes you believe you could do bigger, that makes you feel like your current level is not inspiring, it's the standard or the bare minimum. It's normal. Okay, it's normal. It's not something that's cool. It's normal. And are you in rooms where you're looking at people's results and what they're doing and be like, wow, that's so cool. I can't believe they're doing that. So cool. Wow, they're selling that at that level. Oh my God, are they at that revenue? Wow, that's so cool. Or just intellectually or conversationally, like, people that like, yes, I understand how difficult it is when you're launching something and you're not seeing results the first 2 weeks. This is how I deal with it. This is how I think about it. Or talking about the identity of like going from 6 figures to multi 6 figures, the identity behind going from being a solopreneur to scaling with a team, like, and not being able to have those conversations. Like, how are you going to find support? Like, how are you going to feel supported and expanded, right? Like, you're always going to be validated in your current reality that whatever you're doing is inspiring, whatever you're doing is cool, and you should keep doing it and keep doing what you're doing because that's good enough. This is like a dangerous business problem. And I'm not even exaggerating here. Like, it's a big business problem that you are not being expanded and pushed and challenged, and you are not surrounded by people who can hold you to a high standard as an entrepreneur. That's a business problem. People that aren't mirroring back your flaws and your blind spots to you, but instead they're just validating you constantly. That's a big freaking problem. People say, but you're doing so good, instead of saying, you know what, you could have done this better. You could actually achieve a bigger goal. Why should you even settle for this? Go bigger, go higher. You can do more. You can do better. Right? If you don't have that around you, like, how are you going to grow? Like, you're going to just feel alone. I can push myself. I can do this on my own, but your reality won't shift. Like, how are you shifting your reality to something else entirely if you're not actually like placing yourself into those other realities and seeing other people's realities and getting close to those realities and seeing how they could also be your reality, right? And the thing is, this was the core problem I noticed with a lot of people, that coaches and consultants, small agency owners that were at six figures or multi six figures, and they just kind of usually felt very alone, always felt like I'm the smartest person in the room. I'm always inspiring other people. I'm always adding something to the table, but I feel like my cup isn't filled. I'm just filling up everyone else's. And it makes sense that you're an entrepreneur because of course you are. You're filling other people's cups. You're smart. You're self-led. You can do this on your own. You have achieved bigger things than most people will ever achieve. And of course you're an entrepreneur. It makes sense to me that you're listening to this podcast and you feel aligned with the title, The High Level Entrepreneur, and you are listening to this podcast and like nodding along, feeling like, yeah, that's me. That's my problem. Of course you're an entrepreneur. It makes sense to me. But this is also where we kind of accept it, and we accept that this is what life is like. And, yes, there could be a phase of loneliness where it does become more lonely, and you do need to decide to take distance from some people, or you need to remove yourself from some situations or some conversations and isolate yourself more. I see it in a lot of my clients. I see it in a lot of my peers, where a lot of people don't keep a lot of old friends around, and they actually have to change everything. I mean, personally, I have a lot of my old friends, but I think the reason why I still have a lot of my old friends and a lot of people that are different than me is because I don't expect more from them. I don't expect them to inspire me in my entrepreneurship. I don't expect them to understand my ambition. Like, I don't expect that. But the reason why I can have them and keep them and be friends is also because I do also have the other part, right? I have mentors, I have networks, I have friends that are peers and like-minded and similar, understands everything I'm talking about. I'm not alone. So I even feel like it's easier to maintain old friendships and old relationships with people that are not similar to you when you also have the other aspect of people that are like-minded, are similar to you. So those things, I think everything, all the relationships just become easier when you feel like you actually do get your cup filled. So again, this is not about talking about shit about all the people that are not on your level or don't get it. I'm talking about your specific situation of you never feeling inspired, never in a room where people are talking about $1 million goals. You're never in a room where big goals are normalized, where you're talking about scaling, or where you're talking about the identity and the becoming of entrepreneurship, or problems, clients, or dreams and goals, visions, like big ones. Like, that is a problem for you. It's not about the other people. If whatever other people want, that's fine. It's about you not being in rooms with people who are like-minded or further ahead than you. And that's a problem. That's a business problem. Because what I've noticed is the easiest way to get further in business is by normalizing bigger goals and achievements. And for me, it's been way easier for me to normalize charging higher prices by literally buying from people that charge high prices and being in their space where that is very, very normal. It's been easier for me to think about scaling and growing when I'm around entrepreneurs who are thinking about that. It's easier to trust my intuition and make intuitive decisions in leadership and scaling when I get into spaces where I see that there are people that do that and have succeeded doing that, but also people that are further ahead haven't done that, and I see the consequences of that, and then I know even more what is aligned for me. So just getting into rooms where people are on your level or further ahead and having mentors, like, that is truly one of the biggest things that I could have ever done for my business, as well as finding peers around me that are like-minded, understand, we have the similar problems, same problems, understand each other. Like, I just don't know what I would do if I was sitting here right now just trying to build a business on my own and just trying to like figure it out and making big business decisions, hiring here, who to hire, what to do here, pricing, without feeling supported by people that know what it's like, believe in me, or are further ahead than I am. Like I just don't know what I would have done. I just know for sure that I would have never become who I am or gotten to where I am without like the network, the support, the peers, the groups, the mentors I've had. Like there's just no way, because just getting in the room makes such a massive, massive, massive difference. And I think, this was the core of the problem that I discovered that I founded Industry Leader Lounge on. My mentorship space and the high level network. Like this was really the core of what I founded ILL on, which is like, not everybody joins ILL initially because they want the community or the peers. Like some of the people will say that. Other people, it's more about, the transformation, growing your industry leadership, scaling your business with premium offers and premium positioning. Like that's a big part. Of course, that's the main reason people join, absolutely. But I would say the majority of people have mentioned the fact that they are so, so, so deeply desiring being around people that are further along in business, because most people, like most coaches and most spaces, are for beginners, and they're for people that are earlier in their business. And it's very easy to find those spaces. And that's why I wanted to make it closed for six-figure entrepreneurs, because there's so many spaces and mentorship groups for beginners. There's just so many of them. And, if you really want to be around people that just started their business, you can find that elsewhere. But where can you find a space that have an extremely high standard for who gets to be a part of it and who gets to be allowed in, and who's in the room? Like, where can you really find that, right? Like, where? And it's truly, difficult to find that, because it's not really, I wouldn't say it's a bad business model, but the traditional business model is like you sell a high ticket. And if you sell high ticket, of course you want to be selective, but you don't want to be like, no, to people that you kind of know you could help and they want to buy, right? Like if you know you can help them and they want to buy, you sell to them, right? But it's very unusual to have a space that's specifically focused on much higher level spaces, higher level discussions, higher level people in the space, because naturally, those of you who are listening to this podcast who are six-figure, multi-six-figure entrepreneurs, you're in minority. Like you are in minority. That's why I want to like lift you up here. You're one of the most successful people in the world. If you live in a safe country, you're making six figures, multi-six figures, you're a solopreneur, maybe you have a small team, possibly. Like you are one of the most successful people in the world. And that's amazing. And that means you're in minority. Like there's a lot of people who just started their business. There's not a lot of people who are still in the business, still in the game, and by the way, also have bigger goals and also want to scale. There's just not a lot of people. And it looks better for the coach to just sell to everyone and say that I have, 30 clients, I just made this much money. It looks better for them in their marketing, which makes more people want to work with them, which makes them more people want to pay them more money. Like that's just how it works. What I felt with ILL was I wanted to make the room you're in a big portion, part of the reason why you would join. Right? That's why we have people that are peer consultants, communication consultants, spiritual coaches, tech experts, agency owner. Like we have different types of people, like truly different businesses. Everyone has one thing in common, which is that they are selling or want to sell premium offers at premium prices and scaling their business and building industry leadership. That's what everyone has in common. So that's why it doesn't really matter exactly what you do, because either way, you're in a space where you're selling scalable premium offers. and you want to scale that business, right? You're probably a solopreneur, or you possibly have one assistant or a small team or something like that. But you know that you just want to 2x, 3x, 5x the current results you have. And you know that the way to do that is by growing your industry leadership, becoming chosen by high-level premium clients that want to invest at way higher levels than most people. Kind of like me, like I'm targeting those of you that are in minority, high-level people, premium clients. Like you are also targeting high-level premium clients, whatever that means to you. So, that's really who this space is for. And that means a lot of people are excluded from that. A lot of people are not right for that space. And I really wanted to make the room in this space part of the investment. Even though some people might be like, yeah, but I'm logically joining because of the results I'm getting and all of that. And that's great. But it's really about who you are becoming. It's really about most people are joining because they want to become the entrepreneur who scales, who sells at higher premium levels, who becomes an industry leader. And you know that who you're surrounded by, the room you're in, is contributing to those results. And on September 3rd, we actually have our next in-person CEO room in Industry Leader Lounge in Denmark, in Copenhagen. And I'm so excited for that because we do minimum twice per year. This year is actually our third one already, but normally we do about 2 per year. We do in-person CEO rooms for our clients where we meet in person and mastermind. And I think this kind of example is like another edition where every time we meet in real life, people love it. And they're like, wow, these conversations I just never, ever get to have. So we really combine this combination of selective space online in combination with meeting in real life. And that's been really like a success part of Industry Leader Lounge, because you want to be in a space where you feel like the standards are high, the conversations are on a higher level, and it's no longer about like, how do I have the courage to post my first LinkedIn post? Or, how can I, reach out to someone? How can I do this? And now it's not the basic, like everyday stuff. That could be part of it. Of course, sometimes things like that, but that's not what ILL is based on, right? ILL is based on giving what you need to step into industry leadership and CEO level identity so you can scale your business, sell at premium prices, and work with high level clients. Okay. And almost all of our clients want to scale and feel like they're working less and they don't have to work so hard and feel like they have to deliver. And that is actually one of the very first things we do when we're taking clients, is like looking at their offers, the business model, pricing. And I'm literally giving them the exact how to raise the prices and the value of their offers and reduce the time they're working. That's like, I just did that today with a client. I just love it because it's the most fun thing to do, is to help you see how close you could be to being a multi-six-figure CEO who is not spending 80-90% on client delivery, but it could be like 50-40%. Like, I just love doing that for you guys. And, I digress. It's the space you're in is a massive part of who you become. Who you surround yourself around is a massive part of who you become. And I realized this was such a big draw for people to even join ILL, to even be interested in ILL. And that's just something that I was very validated in and very happy about, was seeing how this intuition that I had about six-figure entrepreneurs, because I am that person as well, it was right. That you really want to be in a high-level space and you just hate, joining groups and being like, oh my God, I can't believe this is the conversation. I can't believe this is the level. I know what that's like. And you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You don't want to be the most ambitious person in the room, because this is the most dangerous thing and the real bottleneck when entrepreneurs want to go from their first 100K, 200K, even 300K, and 2xing, 3xing, 4xing that. thank you for listening to this podcast episode. I hope you kind of related to this. I mean, again, if you feel like, oh my God, I relate to this and I really want to be in a space that's just on a much higher level for people that are further ahead, make sure you head to the description of this podcast episode and sign up to the ILL waitlist. So the waitlist for Industry Leader Lounge, because we are currently closed. We're not allowing any clients in the near future. But I do have a secret date for when we're opening up the next time. And I want to make sure that you are on the wait list. So please head to the wait list, sign up, and you will be one of the first people to be invited with information about how to talk more with me, about how to possibly join ILL if that could potentially be for you. So we will actually prioritize those people that are on the wait list to reach out to you first, because like, if you are one of those people that like, yes, I want to know information, please, I want to talk to Joella, you will be prioritized, because that's just the way it is. Like, I like to prioritize the people that have been in my space for a long time, that are listening to this podcast, and you just feel a pull. So make sure you're on the list, and I'll talk to you next week. I also want to say that this summer, I am doing a bunch of interviews with exciting people. I'm actually doing a series called the Industry Leader Series, which is going to be a series of interviews with a couple of my clients and then some other surprises as well. And this series is also going to continue throughout the fall. I'm still doing these solo episodes, but during the summer, it will be all interviews. And then you're going to see in the fall, when August comes, there's going to be more solo episodes, but then sometimes there's also going to be some interviews with people. And I've really selected for the summer a bunch of clients. I also have some other surprises, and the clients are specifically people from Industry Leader Lounge, people that are some of my industry leading clients that sell high prices, premium offers, and we are going to talk about their expertise, but also how they got to where they are. So I'm not really going to talk about what's your experience in Industry Leader Lounge. Like, it's not going to be a testimonial kind of episodes. It's actually going to be highly valuable for you guys to learn about how can you become an industry leader? What are the difficult things you had to overcome to sell at these premium prices? What have changed for you by surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded, and how was it before? Like, I'm really trying to understand what they're at and helping you guys get such immense value from these super smart, successful people. So I'm so excited about that. I hope you listen in during the summer. It's like the perfect listen. And those of you that are Swedish, I also want to promote something, which is that this summer, me and my friends, Mario Nogani and Nella Lisro, we are doing a temporary podcast, a separate podcast that's not going to be posted here. It's called Loners Mad Hybris. So if you're listening to this podcast episode right now and you just want more podcasts this summer, that podcast, go and listen to it, because the first episode is already out. And you can see we're going to be posting, I think, 6 episodes in total throughout the summer. And it's a podcast where we have conversations. It's two of my entrepreneur friends, 2 of my actually best friends that are also entrepreneurs. And we are talking, actually, speaking of this, the topic of this episode, being around people that are like-minded. Like, you will literally get an insight into the kind of conversations the 3 of us have in our group chat. And we will talk about the parts of entrepreneurship that we feel like no one else is talking about, and the hidden parts and shadows and the hardships and difficulties and the moralities and challenges of entrepreneurship as we have experienced it, very, very honestly and open. And I think that podcast you're going to absolutely love if you love conversational podcasts, but that are also very niche and specific to entrepreneurship. So go ahead and listen to that. I will link to it also in the description below as well. So again, that one is in Swedish, so you can only listen to it if you know Swedish. So thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode, and I will talk to you next week.